The chandeliers sparkled, the city's elite laughed, and a billionaire's cruel dare threatened to humiliate a young waitress with forgotten dreams. But when Isabella Reed stepped onto the ballroom floor, her defiance would silence the room, and even crack the pride of Damian Cole, the man who thought he owned it. What began as mockery would become a night that changed both of their lives forever. Before we dive in, drop a comment with where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. Let's begin. The chandeliers looked like frost caught midair, and Damian Cole soaked up the attention like heat from a spotlight. Billionaire. City king. Everyone said it to his face, no one said arrogant out loud. He noticed the waitress first by how she didn't look at him. 23, steady steps, jaw set against the night, Isabella Reed. He raised his glass, and the room followed. Careful, waitress. You glide like you're trying to dance. Why not show us? Laughter rippled. Isabella's cheeks flushed. For a heartbeat, Damian felt a pinch of doubt, and crushed it. Every room needed a lesson. That's how he learned, growing up with nothing. You win or you're eaten. Then the orchestra shifted, almost sensing a story beginning. Isabella set her tray down, lifted her chin, and stepped into the gold of the floor. A few guests snickered. Damian's smirk held, until she moved. A quiet in his chest, old and unwelcome, stirred. Not attraction. Recognition. Like someone had opened a door he'd bricked over years ago. She danced like the floor owed her a debt, sharp turns, sudden stillness, breath pulled through the room like thread. The laughter died fast. Isabella turned humiliation into fuel, each movement a refusal to be small. Damian didn't clap. Couldn't. The shapes in her choreography, a falter, a reach, a lift that wasn't lifted, echoed steps he hadn't allowed himself to remember. His sister had danced like that. Before the accident. Before the fight. Before silence. The final note cracked into applause so loud the crystal trembled. Isabella bowed once. No flourish. No pleading. Just a statement, I am. Damian's friend, an investor who fed on weakness, leaned over. Bold trick, Cole. Thought you'd crush her. Damian forced a smile. Sometimes pressure makes diamonds. But he was rattled. Across the room, Isabella slipped to the service corridor, vanish and breathe posture. He felt a tug to follow and hated it. He told himself it was PR, optics. Control the narrative. Fix the mess he'd started. He didn't believe himself. The service corridor smelled like coffee and stress. Damian found Isabella washing sweat from her wrists at a utility sink. No mascara rivers. No shaking hands. Just breath, measured. I owe you an apology, he said. The word surprised them both. I don't, she cut in, voice level. If you want to fix something, don't fix me. Fix the way you looked at me. He took the blow. You're good. I'm trained, she said. Or I was. A flicker, pain restrained. I stopped when my mom got sick. Diana Reed, he asked, the name he'd skimmed from a staff list. Isabella tensed, defensive. Relax, he said. I make it my business to know names in my rooms. Try knowing stories, she replied. They last longer. A stage manager burst in. Mr. Cole, you need to see this. He handed over a phone. On the screen, Damian's taunt, clipped, looped, and already trending with #DanceForUs. Comments spit fire. The lesson he'd meant to teach had just been assigned to him in public. Crisis mode came easily. Damian arranged a private car for Isabella, promised a call, and returned to the ballroom to manage donors. But the old quiet in his chest throbbed, the sister he'd failed to protect, while the present screamed, fix your mess. By morning, his PR team had a plan, a public apology, a donation, a mentorship grant. It smelled like spin. He found himself dialing a number instead. Isabella, lunch. Not press. Just talk. She met him at a corner diner, eyes cautious. He laid out an offer: coaching, studio time, medical support for Diana, and a showcase slot at a fall arts gala. And the strings? She asked. 3-year exclusivity with my foundation's touring program, his lawyer said. Too fast. Too corporate. Isabella's face cooled. So I'd trade trays for a leash. Damian dismissed the lawyer. Then tell me the deal you'd sign. She slid a napkin across. Open auditions. Stipends for working-class dancers. Healthcare rider. No image clauses. It wasn't just her dream. It was many. He read it twice and felt something dangerous: respect. September light cut the room into honest lines when Damian visited the hospital. Diana Reed smiled at him like mothers do at trouble they can't stop. You're the man who noticed my girl, she said. Be careful. Noticing costs. On the way out, a man in an ill-fitting suit blocked the hall. Mr. Cole. Name's Riker. Collections. He lowered his voice. Ms. Reed's balance is untenable. Be a shame if her credit flagged during, say, a grant review. Damian stepped closer. Are you extorting a patient? Just stating consequences, Riker said, oily calm. Social media is merciless. That old quiet in Damian flipped to heat. He'd grown up around men like this, always leaning. He took the man's photo, sent 2 texts, and said, you have 1 hour to stop contacting her. Then your company will learn what merciless feels like. Minutes later, billing found a donor, and zeroed the balance. Isabella called, furious and grateful. You can't fix the world with threats, she said. No, Damian replied, staring at his reflection, a man he didn't always like. But I can keep it from breaking you while you fix it your way. The showcase prep moved fast: rented studio, a choreographer with kind eyes, open call flyers taped to community boards. Damian watched Isabella teach kids how to find the beat in their feet. The room felt like oxygen. That night, a video dropped, a deep-faked clip of Isabella pocketing a donor envelope in a backstage hall. Commenters howled. Old narratives returned: gold digger, fraud, actress. Damian's COO urged distance. Cut the program. Issue a statement. Protect the brand. He looked at the freeze frame of Isabella's shocked face. He could hear his sister's voice the day they'd fought: you care more about optics than people. No cuts, he said. Find the source. They traced it to a rival investor who had enjoyed Damian's stumble, the same man who'd whispered in part 2. The edit used a hallway angle only staff accessed. Inside job. Damian showed up at the rival's private club and slid a laptop across a linen tablecloth. You'll sign a retraction and fund the additions you tried to kill, he said, quiet. Or I'll make sure your board sees every other charity video you enhanced for leverage. The retraction posted within the hour. On dress rehearsal day, the building's fire alarm shrieked and sprinklers exploded like cold rain. Panic buckled the young dancers. Isabella shouted counts over the chaos, her voice a rope. Damian started directing evac, old instincts from growing up in buildings that taught you exits. He found a backstage door jammed, shoulder-checked it open, and led a line of trembling kids into September air. Outside, a mother sobbed thanks into his jacket sleeve. For a moment, he didn't feel like a brand. He felt like a man who'd once been small and scared and needed someone bigger to mean it when they said you're safe. The fire was a faulty sensor, but rehearsal was ruined. We'll lose the theater time, the choreographer groaned. No, Damian said. We won't. He called his biggest competitor, the only venue free that night, and asked a favor he'd never have asked a year ago. The man laughed. Cole, you're finally asking for help instead of buying it. Take the night. Isabella overheard. Something in the way she looked at him changed. 2 hours before the showcase, Damian's PR chief burst in white-faced. We have a problem. Your old deposition, the one where you called hourly staff expendable variables, was leaked. A younger Damian had said it, angry during an acquisition battle, thinking only of margins. The quote hit like a brick. Hold the apology, the PR chief said. If you go on stage, they'll boo you off. Damian looked toward the wings where Isabella stretched with the students. If I hide, I deserve the booing. He walked to Isabella. You should know. They might hate me. Do you? She asked. Every day a little less, he said. It came out truer than he expected. She nodded. Then step where you said you would. Let the room decide. He squared his shoulders and walked into lights that could save or burn. The orchestra quieted. The crowd murmured. He took the mic. I said a cruel thing when I believed success was a shield, he began. Tonight, you'll see why I was wrong. He didn't talk long. He didn't spin. He turned, extended a hand, and introduced Isabella Reed, the woman he tried to make small who had made him look up instead. She stepped into silence, then into music that felt like a door opening. The kids joined, faces fierce with a brand new kind of belonging. Choreography wove their stories, missed buses, double shifts, little brothers carried to class, into movement that made the floor feel like a promise. Halfway through, Isabella locked eyes with Damian. He saw it, the line from his sister to this stage, and something in him nodded. When the final beat hit, the room stood as if pulled by a string. A reporter thrust a mic toward Isabella. How does it feel to be rescued by a billionaire? She smiled, unflinching. You saw who rescued who. She gestured to the kids, to Diana in the front row, to the open call sign taped to a case. And this isn't mine alone. Damian laughed then, at himself, at the question, at the relief of being wrong in public and glad for it. After, under the quiet of the empty house, Damian found Isabella near the stage door, hair damp, shoes in her hand. I said I'd apologize, he told her, and help. You did, she said. But you can make it bigger. Tell me how. No exclusivity. Fund an open city program, free classes, healthcare stipends, transit cards. And don't put your name on every wall. He stared at the scuffed floor, thinking about a boy from a walk-up who'd needed someone to leave a door unlocked. Done, he said. We'll start with 5 borough studios. Anonymous. She studied him. Not the billionaire. The man. Then one more thing, she added, glancing at Diana, who was laughing with 3 kids. Show up. Not as a donor. As a person. Every week, he said. He meant it. When September wind slipped through the alley, Isabella tucked her shoes into her bag. You know, she said, Rye, you're better when you're not pretending to be perfect. So are you, he replied. Which is why I'll take your deal. They stepped into the city, not as savior and saved, but as 2 people choosing a better story, and inviting everyone else in. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe for more stories that stay with you.